Okay, Torah, page, Parashat Vayishlach, page Chafei. Okay, bottom of the first column, 4 lines from the end of the page. Okay, the last thing we're learning is Yaakov basically he thought Esav was done, so he wanted to bring down the market of Esav into Pnimis of Yaakov. It all wasn't ready, he came with Klip or whatever. So Yaakov Avinu said he got to do it himself. So he sent a mincha from the world of Tehu, because there's sort of treif animals and they're not the shechted animals and all that stuff. And then he says now, okay, so Yaakov couldn't do it before Matan Torah, but now we do elevate Tehu. So then the new part of the Maimon, Yaakov Balaylo Ikech, and he passed Maver Yabik. He said Yabik is Yichud Bracha Ukdusha. Okay? And he says, what does it mean? That the others came from Eved Anor, from the other side of the Nord. Nord is the level of Bina. So they came from the level of Bina. And then they come down here. So Yaakov Avinu, which is the level of Tiferes, like he's going to explain, that he remained on one side. Like it says, he wanted to find Esav, and that's why he remained, and he ended up fighting with the Malach, and whatever. So he says, what was the intent of Yaakov Avinu b'amshachas ha'makav d'Tehu? We see the whole goal of Yaakov Avinu was sending the gifts, everything. He wanted to refine the world of Tehu. He wanted to refine Esav. What is this in serving Hashem? How is it on a practical level? In the Edoah, the Yaakov Mechinas Tiferes. Yaakov is the attribute of Tiferes. Avram is Chesed, Yitzchak is Gvura, Yaakov is Tiferes. What is Tiferes? Shemechaber Beis Havchim. Tiferes unites two opposites. Like we learned, Chesed and Gvura, right? Chesed is water, Gvura is fire. They don't get along, basically, Michal is Sar Shel Mayim and Gabriel Sar Shel Eish, and so Hashem makes peace. How do you make peace? So when you have Shnei Ksuvim and Machishim there, when you have two opposite contradictory things, number 3 makes peace between 1 and 2. Okay, the Iskal is Beis Havchim Yachad. Because what is the level of Tiferes? Tiferes primarily is combining two opposites, which is the level of Tiferes. And he says, he gives a mashal. Gavnim, like in coloring. Shemakov and Beis v'gimel gavnim yachad. When you have a number of, you can't make a beautiful piece of art with one color. When you have many colors blending together in harmony, and like we learned many times, even if they're contrasting colors, they're opposite colors. Yet when they blend together in harmony, it creates a beautiful picture. Or you have the same thing in music. When you can't have a beautiful band with 30 guitars. You need different instruments, contrasting instruments, but they blend together in harmony. That's Tiferes. Tiferes is beauty. What is the beauty? The combination of different things together. And the ultimate level of Gilui of Ein Sof is Kaveh Mitzoi. Because Yaakov is a level of Tiferes. And Tiferes means the unification, right, of two things. Therefore, he wanted to Yachan Makav the Tehu. Imar Pnimi the Tikkun. Because Yaakov Avinu's Tiferes, his role is to make peace between two opposites. So his role is to make peace between Tehu and Tikkun, which are opposites. Tehu is like wild. The word Tehu means wild, and Tikkun is established. So Yaakov Avinu wanted to bring down the Or Makiv of Esav into Tikkun, and then it will be the ultimate Gili of Or himself. Okay? So he says like this, to explain this, in serving Hashem, there's 2 levels. What does it mean? There's one level of person that's extremely enthusiastic, is a burning flame, to become one with Hashem. The tag is made with very strong power, to leave the body, and to separate itself from the wick. The Rabbi explains in Tanya why the Shlomo Melech say Ner Hashem Nishma Sodom. The candle of Hashem is in the neshama. What's the connection between a candle and the neshama? So the Rebbe says that a candle, the nature of a candle, by nature, is that it flickers, it wants to get away from the wick. The second there's no more wick or fuel, the fire is out. And the wick and the flame is constantly flickering because it wants to get away from the wick. Why does it want to get away from the wick? Because the source of fire, the Alter Rebbe brings down, is Tachas Galgal HaYerech, under the rotation of the moon. And therefore, the nature of everything is to go back to its original source. Okay, when you throw a ball up, it'll come down as soon as your power is finished in it. So science will say because of gravity. But why is there this concept of gravity? Because again, Chassidus explained, because the nature of everything is to be where it originally comes from. The ball originated down here, you want to throw it up, so as soon as your power is finished, so to speak, as soon as the fuel is finished, it's going to come back down to where it was originally. So the flame wants to go back, and the Alter Rebbe says even more. Even though now down here, the flame is a flame. It's something. When it leaves, it becomes a nothing, so it doesn't make sense for the flame to want to leave the wick. So the Alter Rebbe says, even though it doesn't make sense, but kachu b'tivai. And the Alter Rebbe said, what does nature, what teva mean? It's not logical. This is what its nature is. How it doesn't make sense? It's not nature. So the same thing, what the Alter Rebbe is saying over here, the neshama of a yid is called the Ner Hashem. The neshama is constantly flickering, it wants to get away from the body. First opportunity it has to get away from the body, pardon the pun, it's dying to get away, from the body. Yeah, it's dying to get away from the body. Even though over here the neshama is against a whole mitzias, a person and everything, there is nothing, another number in Gan Eden. But this is what it wants. In fact, that's how Sforim say. You ever notice that, like, he's suckling now, yeah? He's suckling subconsciously. You don't know, I'm shaking now, yeah? Why is it? Because a person davens or learn, the neshama feels godliness more, and that causes it even more to flicker. You don't shuckle in business, you know. in davening or learning, but subconsciously he didn't realize, no, he's shaking, right, shuckling. So why is it? Because it says in Sodom, because then the neshama is davening, neshama is learning, the neshama is feeling godliness, and therefore it wants to get out. It has this longing. So he says one level of Aveda is that the Ava B'dish Be'esh, it wants to get out of the goof. That is the level of Ava Rabba. Shein Kli Alev Machila Esa. The body can handle it. Ki lo yachol alev is pilus. It can handle this tremendous effect that this such a love of Hashem. But wait, the Alter Rebbe Tanya says this is a gift from above. Therefore, it can handle the body, and it wants to go out of its shield, which is the severity, the coarseness of the body. Beis, he says, is pilus momayla lamata. I'm sorry, hamisyashid bekeli, which comes into the keli alev. V'ike yonim bechin sam shachal ukos momayla lamata dafka. Bekenim bekenim shenim b'teira mitzvahs. Okay, the other side is the neshama realizes that Hashem wants us to be in the body, doesn't want us to be out of the body. He wants us to be in the body. That's why he sent the neshama down into the body. And therefore, every second the neshama is in the body is a tremendous satisfaction to Hashem. It's contrary to medical science today. The guy's suffering, let him get out of here, let him go, let him die, whatever. That every second the neshama is in the body is a tremendous satisfaction to Hashem. So he says these two la'avas are inyan rotzav v'sheiv. Is the longing. The pasuk says in the Nevuah of Yecheskel, v'achayis rotzav v'sheiv. The chayis are longing and returning. The aved of a yid has to be the longing and the returning. Right? There has to be the neshama wanting to get out of here, and from the other side, the neshama realizes Hashem wants him to be here. This is how the Rebbe explained very interestingly. When Menashe and Ephraim, Ephraim was not the B'chor, Menashe was the B'chor. Yet Ephraim was greater. So the question is, why wasn't Ephraim born first? Yaakov and Yosef, Taka Yosef is higher his tail, and Yaakov is tickled. Okay? So the same thing. If Ephraim is greater than Menashe, then he should have been born first. So Chassidus explains, why was he called Menashe? Hashem wanted me to forget my father's house, which means I'm not forgetting it. Ephraim was called Kifrani Alekim Beretz Oni. Hashem made me successful in Mitzrayim. These two names, Menashe and Ephraim, Menashe means the longing, of Beisavi, that I shouldn't forget. I'm missing my father's house. And Ephraim is the way you're successful where you are. So granted, the ultimate goal is to be successful where you are, in Mitzrayim. But in order to be successful in Mitzrayim, that Mitzrayim doesn't affect you. On the contrary, if Frani Alekim, you become successful in Mitzrayim, that's only when you're still connected to the source. So he says that's why you need Rotza V'Shev. The whole Avodah V'Yid is Rotza V'Shev. Rotza means the longing to go out to Hashem. It means you don't forget where you're coming from and what your purpose is. But the ultimate is not to be there in Gan Eden. The ultimate is to go out into the world and be successful. That's the Shuv. And that's the two Avedas. And Avedas Hashem, how a person... So he's saying Tiferes combines these two things. You became a photographer.